Hi, I'm Heather with First Pioneers Federal Credit Union, and welcome to the Money Tips No One Told You podcast. Here at First Pioneers, we love helping you understand your finances better and giving you the tools you need to be financially successful. Here, we're going to talk about financial terminology, how different accounts work. We're going to share tips that make your financial life easier, and so much more. Are you ready to dive in? Hi everyone, welcome back. At the time of this recording, we are in the month of April, and some of you may know this from past episodes, but April is the month that credit unions celebrate youth. And we've actually had several questions come up from teens and young adults about some basic financial things that they just don't understand, or maybe they just need some guidance on. Of course, the big one always revolves around credit and how to even begin to make big purchases like cars or even homes. So today we want to talk about some things you need to do in order to purchase a car. Now, we've talked about some of these things before in other episodes, but let's go over it specifically for this topic. So first, you're going to want to check your credit report. Your credit score and your income are going to play a really large part in what interest rate you can qualify for your loan. Did you know you can actually get a free copy of your credit report every 12 months from annualcreditreport.com for you to review? I'll put that in the show notes for you, but once again, that's annualcreditreport.com. And with this report, you want to make sure that there's no errors. Sometimes there can be something just as simple as an address error that needs to be corrected. But also see if there's anything on there that's not yours. Perhaps it's something that even needs to be disputed. And those can often be cleared up with something as simple as a letter that's sent to the lender. And if you need help with a letter like that, just let us know. We can help you out with that. Also check for collections or liens. Now, collections are often things like unpaid bills. This will often be something like a medical bill that just hasn't been paid. A lien is a little different though. That may be for something like taxes, like unpaid federal taxes. It can also be a judgment that's from an individual or a creditor. In this case, they would have filed suit in court and the court awarded money to be paid. So if you have anything like this, you want to work on getting those paid off and taken care of, because that'll help raise your score. Now, handling some of these things may raise your score, but there are also some other things you can do to help get that score higher. One is don't take out any new lines of credit within about 6 months of when you wish to make your purchase, so that way there's no hits on your credit. Also, be sure you're making your payments on time. We've said this so many times, I know, but those late payments, those really can lower a credit score. And of course, any debt that you can pay down, that'll help as well. But I have a little bonus tip with that. If you have lines of credit that are open, maybe a credit card or something like that, but you don't owe anything on them, don't close them. That actually helps your score. It shows that you have credit available to you. So pay it down, but leave the line of credit open. Another big one is check around for the best rate. Now, there are several places you can actually get a loan, but I recommend that you go to your credit union or your bank. These are the people that are often going to have the best rates, and they may even be able to help you out a little more. Now, look, that's not to say that other places can't offer you financing, but often those rates are going to be much higher, and they aren't necessarily looking out for you the way we would. So check around, see where your best option is, see what fits your needs best, and just be aware of the deal before you sign it. Once you've decided on the lender you wish to use, you can get what's called a pre-approval. This can help things go a little more smoothly through the purchasing process. In this case, the lender will take a look at your information and they'll give you an idea of how much you can qualify for and what your rate would likely be. Now, this isn't an actual approval, but it gives you an idea of what you can shop for and an idea of how much your note will be. Usually, a pre-approval will be good for about 30 days, so I would wait until you're getting close to making that purchase before you actually do this part. The lender is probably going to ask you for proof of income as you go through that process. Most likely a month's worth of pay stubs will do it, so just be ready to bring that with you when you go have that conversation. Another thing people often don't think about is their account balances. You want to keep them high if you can, because what this does is it helps the lender see what your average balance would look like to help them assess your financial habits. So now, once you know what you can qualify for, see what will actually fit in your budget and make sure that you can afford that note. But you can't just factor in the note. You'll also have insurance and upkeep on the vehicle and things like that. You'll need gas, and we all know gas can be expensive, so make sure all of that's in your budget too. The key is, don't plan to have a payment that's the max amount you can afford. You always want to leave some room in your budget in case things change. I mean, what if your insurance rates go up? You'll need to make sure you have the budget to manage that. So what did we say? Don't max out your budget. And back to the upkeep I mentioned. That's a big one too. Oil changes, new tires, just general maintenance is needed to keep your car in good shape. That helps it last longer, and it also helps the value of the car. So, budget. I say that a lot, I know, but it's important. I would do one more thing before you decide to go out shopping. If you have any money you can use for a down payment, that will help with how much you owe on the vehicle and therefore your note. That can also be a trade-in of another vehicle. A dealer will often give you a certain amount for your old car that you can then use towards your new car, or maybe even use that trade-in plus some down payment. Any of those amounts can help with what you're going to owe later on your note. So now that you've done all of these things, you're ready to shop. Have a couple extra bonus tips for you guys today. One is, give your insurance agent a call and get quotes for the insurance premium on the different types of cars that you're looking at. You're going to need to factor that cost into your decision to make sure that your budget is good with both the car note and the insurance premium. And these rates on the different cars may actually surprise you. Did you know that there are certain safety features that can actually cost you more for insurance? Because the cost to replace those things in the event of an accident is actually somewhat high, therefore the insurance premium is higher. And I know that sounds crazy. You would think, safer car costs less, but that's really not true. So be sure and talk to your agent before you buy. My other tip is to look at things like tires and the type of oil that it uses, and maybe even some of the other maintenance costs. These can actually vary widely in cost, and again will factor into your upkeep costs that we talked about earlier. I remember having a car one time that I fell in love with on the lot. The deal we got was amazing, but then the first time we needed new tires, I was actually in shock. The cost per tire was more than twice as much as our other car, so it was much more than we expected. And of course, since then, I check those various things and how much they'll cost before I buy a car. It had never really dawned on me that it would vary that much because the two cars that we had were so similar. So make sure you check some of those things before you make the purchase. I don't know if you know this, but if you open the driver's door, there's usually a sticker there that'll tell you the type and amount of oil as well. Look at those tires, make a note of the size, and then call around and just see how much those things would cost. It would just give you a great start to know what your upkeep costs are going to be. The truth is, there are some cars that just require a lot of tuning as well. So what I'm recommending here is do your research on any car before you make the purchase. And one last thing, consider the longevity of the car if you need it to last you a while, and how well it's going to hold its value for later. I mean, after you've had it for a few years, you may want to trade it in or even sell it. And some cars just hold their value better than others. So consider how important that is to you when you're making this decision. So I guess we need to give a little summary here, huh? What is our summary? Consider what really suits your needs, what really suits your budget, and then choose wisely. Okay, I have one more question before we go. Did you know that many of these same things are needed for a mortgage? Now, of course, there are a couple of differences. One in particular is that a mortgage will require pre-qualification versus just pre-approval. This is where the lender is going to actually pull your credit and give you the parameters of the loan that you've qualified for. You'll also need a little more financial information. You're going to show kind of a longer period of time for employment, probably 2 months worth of pay stubs. You'll need copies of bank statements, probably about 2 months for that as well. And then you're going to need your most recent tax return. So it's a little more to consider and gather up for your lender, obviously. But there are some of the ideas for shopping and getting ready for that purchase that are very similar. You're still looking around for a rate that's right for you. You're still going to consider what type of house you want, what fits your needs, what fits your budget, and what the upkeep cost will be. All very similar things. Even considering how long it will serve your needs, and the potential for resale value is similar to what you would do with a vehicle. So like I said, it truly is a similar process, just on a bigger scale. But there are two things that I can say that are definitely the same, and that is, once you have your loan, make sure to make your payments on time so that you can maintain that good credit standing that you worked so hard for. And when you're ready to look for a car or a home, feel free to visit us at First Pioneers, and we will be happy to help you through that process. Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you found this information helpful, and we'd love it if you'd give us a rating. And don't forget to favorite or subscribe to the show. There are several ways you can find us if you need further information or you need to speak with a financial counselor. You can visit us in person in Lafayette or New Iberia, Louisiana, or you can find us at firstpioneers.com. There you can find out how to become a member of our family and find out other financial information. Be sure and check out the show notes for important links and other information. And as always, we're here to help in any way that we can. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.